Star Wars, Fortnite, Battlefront. Here we are. Another volume. Another volume. And in today's volume, there's one thing I want to shed some light on. And that is Thrawn's Fist. Thrawn's Fist was probably the most successful clan I ever did on any game. And it was probably the best clan I ever did on any game. You know, I really hold it at a high regard. You know, how it ended, it's not the way I envisioned it to end, but its demise led into a character development that would shape Doctor Who for the future. You know, this villainous persona. Anyway, so Thrawn's Fist was a clan that was founded right after the death of Unit and another clan called the Stream Team, which was led by Shadow Fox. So me, Gunner, and Shock, mostly me and Shock first, decided to create a clan, merging the two clans together, basically the best of both worlds. And that's what we did. We unified the clan, and we made a name for ourselves on Heroes and Villains and Hero Showdown through the course of 6 months in total. And, yeah, we won almost every fucking game. We only lost, like... We only lost, like, 56 times, to be exact. It's in between 53 and 57 times as we lost. We won every game. We were positive by 1,600 plus wins, which is wild. We beat the best of the best. If there was a clan, Mod Squad, Dark Side Fam, you know, 501st. I mean, there's been other clans. I can't really think of them. But we beat them. You know, all the best Twitch streamers like Darth Call and stuff, and other Twitch streamers, big names like Miami Wonka. You know, we beat them. We beat the best of the best. And we were the best. We were the most known Heroes and Villains clan on the game. We had duo teams on Hero Showdown that were under Thrawn's Fist, like Team Akbar, Team Elite, Team OGs, Team Rusty, Team... There's been others. Team Attrition. You know, there's been a lot. And, you know, War of Attrition Volume Series was started under Thrawn's Fist. That's where it started. You know, a lot of great Bring It volumes were held under Thrawn's Fist. A lot of great tours. Great players like Shockwave, and, you know, Shockwave is the best Battlefront II Heroes and Villains player I've ever known. Like, he's still going strong to this day, and I'm sure he hasn't missed a beat either. Shock, nobody has passion for Star Wars and Battlefront more than Shock, that I knew, at least. You know, personally. You know, Shock is the best Heroes and Villains player I've ever seen, because he comes from the first game, and throughout the history of the second game on PlayStation, he's been there. He has not left. A lot of people have come and gone, and he's still going. People like Gunner. Gunner was a great player on Battlefront 1, a good player on Battlefront 2. Gunner really was a good player. People like X-Men, Lakabama Yang, Sky Guy, Hot Boy Fester. These were great players. You know, these were players that nobody really ever heard of. And that's what the beauty of Thrawn's Fist was. It wasn't about established Battlefront 2 players like me or Shock or Gunner. You know, like me, Shock, and Gunner were known. We were famous. We were established. Thrawn's Fist wasn't just about taking established players, you know, the great players. Thrawn's Fist, I recruited new players, people never heard of, you know, because I wanted to establish new Battlefront stars. I wanted this to be their launching pad to go into further success, and no other point is valid except for Sky Guy. Sky Guy got his start with Thrawn's Fist. It was following Thrawn's Fist he became a huge star with the GAR, and you know, a captain of the GAR. You know, he was a leader, so to speak. You know, Thrawn's Fist was his launching pad to get to that thing. So he was a nobody when we recruited him, and he eventually became somebody. That's what I mean by creating stars. You know, it was the heart and soul of Thrawn's Fist. It wasn't just about the good players. It was about establishing new stars. And that's what we relied on. It was a great team. We had a lot of moments on Battlefront 2, Battlefront 1, Civil Wars, a lot of great tours, holiday specials, like me and Shock as Team Rusty on Hero Showdown. Like, it was a good time, and unfortunately it ended in a bad way, you know? The only crime that I can say that I had was I cared a little too much. You know, I was the one recruiting. I was the one trying out. And I was the one running it day by day. Reckless left and started a war, which turned into another war with somebody else, and then turned into a whole huge other war with somebody else on top of that. There was a lot of factors. I was burned out. I needed a break. I wasn't getting a break. And I did everything myself because I wanted perfection for this clan. I cared passionately so much about Battlefront, and that's my only crime, is I cared too much in order to do everything myself, which wasn't a good thing, and it backfired, and the two co-leaders left, and then I saw myself as a villain, and I took a bad situation, and I saw a spark light up in my head, and I turned it into a success, creating the villain persona and character. In conclusion, Thrawn's Fist was a great clan. It deserves to be represented in this merger of Battlefront and Fortnite. It's a huge part of my Battlefront history. It's a huge part of my gaming history. It's what led me to Fortnite. I really wish it ended different. Unfortunately, it ended the way it is, and there's nothing that can change that now. Do I regret it? Yes, I do. I cared more than anyone would ever give me credit for. I eventually brought Team Nightmare to Fortnite. One of the things I always thought, but like, what if Thrawn's Fist ever came back in a weird way, like, and it was on Fortnite, like Battlefront, that would be a pretty interesting what if, like if me and Shock and Gunner were to play Fortnite, like a what if scenario. I always think about that as a funny concept because it happened with Team Nightmare, obviously, with me and Optimus and Adios and stuff 2 years ago. So, I mean, Thrawn's Fist's legacy is success, and nobody can take that away from anybody that was a part of it. And, yeah, so I'm glad it can be represented. I'm glad to share this story, even though it's very short. I could go on and on for a long time about Thrawn's Fist, but I just want Thrawn's Fist to be remembered and Thrawn's Fist to be represented in some way, shape, and form as its own volume, a part of this volume series.